All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back if you were here last Monday. You may remember my name is Caleb Branch. I was here last Monday teaching about the 5 families of drawing. Today, we're going to be talking about 1-point perspective drawing. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Like I said, my name is Caleb Branch. This shoulder that you see here is my wonderful assistant and youngest sister, Faith, who's going to be helping us out today. I am a teaching artist with AHA Tulsa, which means that normally I would be going into schools and teaching art lessons to you guys in person, but given the circumstances, that obviously doesn't really work out. So we get to do these lessons online, which is also super, super cool. So like I said, we're going to be doing 1-point perspective today. There are 3 different perspective drawings. I'm going to show you a couple of them. So 2-point perspective, I have this massive paper here. 2-point perspective, if you can see the pencil lines on there, is where you have 2 points on a drawing, and you draw 3-dimensional shapes from it, but all of your lines come from those 2 points. Okay, there's also 3-point perspective drawing, which is the same kind of thing, but you have 3 points. Today, obviously, we're doing 1-point perspective, and I have a little series of drawings that I did here. So there's this one, right, this blue. Each of these squares, this white part is going back to 1 point. And I want to point out that on these really small drawings, my point that I was going to was actually really far away, or it was really far off the page. You can totally do that. It helps though if you do it by like taping another piece of paper to the side of the paper that you're drawing on, because that will allow you to see all of your lines. As you'll see as we go throughout this, you want to see the lines that you are connecting to your main point. Here's another one. This one, the point was in the middle, but I had the lines go past and like extended past the shapes instead of coming in. Whereas this one right here is the opposite. So all the points or all the lines are going to the middle, whereas this one, they're all going out from the middle. And then I have one more, just like that. As you can tell, these ones are all pretty basic. They're just simple shapes coming from different areas. I have the drawing of one of my students who made this. This is a work in progress, so it's not quite finished, but you guys can see there's all of these like rectangular blocks like coming out from behind this weird Swiss cheese ball planet, which is really, really cool. We have a bunch of other drawings and stuff, but yeah, so 1-point perspective is what we're going to work on today. And I think it's a ton of fun. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. We're going to do something that's pretty much just basic shapes, just to kind of learn how to do it because it's easy. But then we will also be able to, like once you learn this, you'll be able to do your own drawings with whatever shapes you want. And you can make some really, really, really cool stuff. So what you'll need, just like last time, we're just going to have paper and a writing utensil. And in addition to that, if you have like a ruler, just one, like a wooden one or a plastic one or a metal one, if you can have a ruler, that would be amazing. Or like a straight edge, like this is like a metal yardstick right here. Or, you can even use like a box, or like a heavy piece of paper or something. Just something with a straight edge that you can lay on top of the paper that you're using. that'll allow you to trace along it and get really, really straight lines. Okay, so if you have those things, that would be awesome. And then we're going to get started. We're just going to go ahead. So the way that we're going to do this is you guys just kind of follow along. I'm going to make my drawing up here, and I'm going to have my point in the middle. You do not have to do that. I think she's very camera shy. It's very funny. Faith is probably going to do one on like the side or something. Yeah? Sure, she whispers. We asked Ben, if you remember Ben from last time, we asked him if he wanted to join us this time, and he said that he didn't want to become too famous, so he was going to sit this one out. Faith decided she's going to counter that by just staying off screen and just having her left shoulder become really famous. So anyways, yeah, you guys can follow along with exactly what I do. If that's easier for you, that's totally fine. That's great. If you want to try to mix it up and do your own thing a little bit, that is also awesome. Really just whatever you want to do, okay? But we're going to follow some steps, and those will apply to pretty much anything you want to do, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. So the 1 point perspective, I'm going to start my drawing by drawing 1 point, okay? Like I said, I'm just going to do mine in the middle. You might not be able to see it on the screen because it's just a really small dot, but just know that it's there, okay? And so just start out by just drawing a dot on your paper. You can draw it right in the middle. You can draw it on the side. Like I said, if you want to get really crazy with it, you can tape like another piece of paper to the one you're using and then draw the dot on that one so that it's really far away. But that's a lot of work for this little class right here, right now. So we have that, okay? Now what we want to do is get our shapes on there, okay? Like I said, you can do pretty much any shape with this. I'm going to start with a square because that's easy. I like squares quite a lot. So I'm just going to draw a little square. All right, just right up there. Okay, a little bit of ways from my dot. Whatever you want to do. Again, you don't have to do a square if you don't want to, but you totally can. Faith is over here drawing a circle, or kind of an oval, on her paper. So you can do whatever. And I'll just go ahead and show you guys the way that this works. So I'm going to use one of these rulers, okay? And so what you want to make sure is that so we're going to line up the whatever edge with our dot, okay? Your dot, whatever your point is always going to be lined up on your ruler, okay? And whatever the edge is, whatever the corner, or if it's a circle, just the farthest edge, whatever that is, it needs to be on the same. So I can't have, the corner of this square on this side of the ruler and my point on this side. That will not work, okay? Because as soon as you start drawing, you're going to take it down there, and now this line does not come to your point, okay? Makes sense, but people get a little confused sometimes, and that's okay. Just takes a little bit of practice. All right? So to decide, if you ever have any confusion, deciding where your lines go, you always want to use the points on your shape that are farthest out, okay? So that corner right there, all right, so I match it up to the corner, and then I like to just kind of slide that over, double check the corner again to make sure that it didn't move off of your shape, okay? And then once you have your line, you're just going to trace it down to your point. Okay, just like that. All right, and then now we're going to go over here, and this is a corner right here, okay, on this square. And so you do want to trace that, but if you notice, when I put it over there, I cut off part of this, the square, which means that it's not the farthest out point. Okay, that is right up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace them both. Give me 1 second. Okay, so if you're following along, we're tracing the top right corner of my square right now. Okay, just like that. All right, and then because this is a point, normally it would, or if you kind of think about how 3D shapes look, or like a building, for instance, okay, because a lot of like skyscrapers are just kind of really tall rectangles, right? So they have corners, and those corner lines go all the way down, okay? And we want to draw that too. So if you have an angle, okay, on your shape, then you want that to come down too. A circle, for instance, does not have one of those, and so you wouldn't. Faith, if I could borrow your paper real quick, show you guys an example. I kind of cut her off in the middle of drawing another shape. But if you can see it, she's got a circle right here, and then just a line and a line. All right. She doesn't like having her work be shown. She's really good though. Faith, honestly, is probably going to be the best artist out of our entire family. Me and Faith have 6 brothers and sisters, so there's 8 of us total. Faith's probably going to be the best artist. It's because she has such a great teacher. All right, so anyways, back to the drawing. So like I said, we're going to draw this corner, okay? Because we have a shape that has corners, and we're not drawing a circle. All right, we're just going to follow this corner down. And some people might think it's a little redundant because those 2 lines are so close together, right? But those 2 lines being there make a really big difference when you're trying to make a realistic 3D shape. They really do make a big difference. And they're closer together on mine because I'm using a marker so that you guys can see it. But with like, a pencil or like a really fine pen, or even just a finer marker, it makes a much bigger difference, okay? So we have that. Awesome. So now we can just add more shapes, okay? So if you're following along, we'll just add a couple more shapes. I've talked about a circle quite a bit, so let's do a circle over here. Sort of a circle. I can't draw perfect circles, but that's all right. Who said it had to be perfect, right? So again, we draw our shape, okay, and then we're just going to find the point on the side, okay? We swing the lower end of our ruler per straight edge or book or whatever we're using. Swing that over to our point, and this kind of came off a little bit, so I'm going to move that back up. Check the point again. That's right on, and then you just trace. Okay, bam, just like that. All right, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slide it up, and you just kind of check, and the last point that disappears, that's where you're going to go from, okay? Adjust for any movement while you're lining up your ruler, double check everything, and then trace, and just go right along. Get those really nice straight lines. So again, you can see here, if Faith's pencil was too light, you might not have been able to see it. But you can see right here, our circle doesn't have any edges, right? So there's not really any point in tracing along there. So we just want to stick with just those 2 lines, okay? Some shapes have a lot more edges, okay? So let's draw something crazy up here. Okay, so I have this weird shape. I don't really know what it is, but I like it. Looks like a lot of fun. Kind of looks like a puzzle piece. But so for this one, we want to start with the two outermost lines. Okay, so we're going to go there, it looks like. Yep. Okay. And you guys can draw this exact shape, or you could draw something just kind of similar. All right. Really does not have to be exactly what I'm doing, but it can be if you want. Okay. So we can do that. All right. So we make sure that it's inside there. We make sure that the corner's on. And then we trace. Okay. Now we're going to go over here. I'm going to kind of flip and use the other side of my ruler here. All right, so we line it up on the dot, take it up to the corner, adjust it a little bit, right? And these 2 points are clearly on the edges, which makes that really, really helpful. Now, so we have those two. Okay, now we want to look at the rest of these. This line actually up here, I don't think that I'm going to trace it because of the angle that it's at. I don't think I'm going to end up using it, but I might, okay? So even these ones that are up here, you can check, okay? And see if you guys might not even be able to see there's just a little sliver of white right here. So you don't need to do that. What I'm actually going to do, just to give you guys the example though, is I'm going to, my marker doesn't like me. That's all right. I'm going to draw these lines in a little bit like this. We'll put that one there. Okay. I'm just going to get a harder angle so I can show you guys if it is behind. Okay. If you have a point that's behind, you still want to line it up here. What you don't want to do, though, is draw your line that you connect to your dot all the way through. Okay? And I will show you why. So what you want to do is you still want to line it up with the dot. You want to line it up with the corner. Okay? And then you trace. If I can find the right side of the marker that wants to cooperate. Okay, so then you trace, all right, and you have this little back part. Let me grab my red marker here. I'll show you guys why you only want to stop there. Okay, why you don't want to go all the way through. Because this is not a see-through shape, I have decided. If you want to draw a see-through shape, you can do that. All right, that would be cool. But I do not want to draw a see-through shape, okay? So I'm not going to. If I made this line come all the way through, though, it would cut through the top part of my shape, and it would cut through down here. And I don't really want that, because I don't want that line to be seen. It is not the kind of shape that I wanted. But again, if you guys want to draw a see-through shape, you can do that by all means. You're the artist, you decide. All right, so let me fix up my lines here real quick, if I can. Dry erase markers don't always like to cooperate, but I like them anyways. All right, so let's get back to these little dots in here. Okay, so these corners. We're just going to do the same thing. They're all corners, and so they would all come down. Okay, so we line it up with our point in the middle, and we line it up with our corner, and then there we go. Okay, I'm just going to keep my ruler right on my dot, and I'm just going to move the top part over. Adjust a little bit to make sure it's perfect. try to find the edge of the marker that will let me draw. See, so right here, I'll just show you guys real quick. It's a very small deviation, but what happened was I was not holding my ruler very well. I did not have a strong grip on it. And so when I just tried to draw down, I kind of pushed it over. Now, if you're using a pencil, or just something that you can erase with, it's really easy to just get rid of it. And then you can redraw. Okay, if you're using a pen or a marker, you might not be able to get rid of it, but that's okay. As I tell my students, like Faith, and Faith is really good about this, you can draw as many wrong lines as you want to, as long as you eventually draw the right lines. Okay, I think that's a very, very, very good rule of thumb. Where you just keep on drawing and you keep on practicing until you get it right. Okay, it doesn't matter how many times it takes. You just make sure that you get it right, and then if you can't erase, you can just draw another one, and then you have your picture with the right lines to copy from. Okay, so let me draw one more line right here. Finish this shape up. Okay, then we're gonna get into some cool stuff here. Really groovy stuff. Faith is actually way ahead of me over here. I like it. Okay, so she just gave me a frowning face. Again, Faith does not like the attention very much. She kind of just flies under the radar. All right, so I have some like spots missing from my lines from my hand, and I just erased them with the marker. There we go. Okay, close enough. So what we want to do now, or at least what I want to do, is I want to add some detail to these, okay? There are a bunch of different things you can do with these shapes. So let's say, for instance, you don't want them to come all the way to the point. You just kind of want a floating shape, okay? Because these kind of look like, oh, they're coming down from some point, like really far away. If you want to just have floating shapes that kind of look like they're like exploding out to the sides, it's really really easy to solve that by just drawing a new line. And this only works if you have something that you can erase with. If you don't have something that you can erase with, you can go ahead and draw the line if you want. And then you can just redraw it another time. But what I'm going to do right here is this circle. Actually, no, I'm not going to use the circle. I'm going to use this crazy shape up here for this. Okay. So what I want to do is each of these like little areas that are surrounded by the two lines, I'm going to draw a line in them. Okay. And I'm going to match the line with whatever the top looks like. Okay. So for instance, this one, it's coming down at a really steep angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to draw a line just between those two at a really steep angle. Okay? Right here, it kind of goes back up. Now this part, your first line decides how low or how high you're going to do this. Okay? The second line that you draw, you're going to have kind of come back up a little bit. Okay? And that is super hard to see because my marker is acting up. There we go. All right. Here we have another really steep one. And again, we're going to come from what we already have. And then we have another one that goes down, but not super steep. So we're going to draw that right there. Okay. Now I have that. And then all you got to do is just come right here and just erase. Okay. So obviously you can only do this one if you're using an eraser, if you're on like a dry erase board, or just something where you can erase. But don't worry, if you're using a pen, I will show you one that you just add. Okay. So that's how you can take away, and now you have like a floating shape. Okay. Now, another thing you can do is you can draw shapes inside. So I'm going to draw a smaller square inside of the square that I already have. Okay? And we're just going to follow the same step, except this time you just do whichever line is going to show up. Okay? So right here, my square, it's only going to have the one line showing up. But now that I've drawn a little square and I have another line coming to the point and it stops, it kind of looks like there's like a hole in the top of my shape that's coming down. Okay? For the circle, I'm not going to show you mine. I'm just going to go ahead and show you Faith's real quick. Faith's done some very cool stuff here. And on these, you can do shading too, which is super fun. Faith's circle, though, I hope you can see it. She has a circle one that's going down, and then she drew a diamond around it and has lines coming down from that. And so this diamond is kind of like a ring around it, which I think is very, very cool. But anyways, yeah, so that's 1 point perspective. You can do a lot of different things with it. You can get really, really creative and really basically do whatever you want. Faith, had her point on the side of her paper. I had mine right in the center. You can do these cutouts. You can, by drawing, you can, drop off part of that. If you want, you can color in your shapes. Okay. All right. You can basically do whatever you want to do. Okay. So I really, really encourage you guys to all, after this lesson, or just, later today or throughout the week, or just for the future forever. Just really try this out and try to get really creative with it, okay? That's going to be all the time that we have for today. So I again want to give a huge thanks to Tulsa Public Schools, AHA Tulsa, and Rogers State University for putting all of this together. It's a huge opportunity. I'm having a blast teaching these classes. I really hope you guys are having fun watching not only my classes, but the other classes as well, because this is a very cool resource. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had a blast today. I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe and keep Tulsa creative. Bye now.